One morning you wake up, and there are no men left on Earth. No warning, no scientific explanation, no sin, just absence. Today's world without men. What would it look like? This isn't an attack or a defense, just a thought experiment to explore how human societies might adapt. And at the end, I'll reveal the biggest unexpected consequence. So stay with me until the end. To keep this fair, let's look at two scenarios. Scenario 1. Today, suddenly, all men disappear. Scenario 2. Men never existed from the beginning. These scenarios lead to very different outcomes. We're talking about capacities and structures, not superiority or weakness. The goal is to understand dependencies and possible replacements. In the sudden disappearance scenario, the first 24 hours would be full of systemic shock. Some shifts at power plants, airports, hospitals, and police stations would be left unmanned. But critical systems are always designed for emergencies. Women already working in these areas would quickly take shifts and fill the gaps. Disruption would happen, yes, but collapse, no. Thanks to automation and backup protocols, modern infrastructure could survive long enough for society to reorganize. In the short term, the labor supply in some industries would shrink. This would cause wages to rise and create rapid movement across the job market. Governments would launch intensive training programs, and more women would enter fields that used to be male-dominated, like mechanical engineering, drilling, or the military. Companies would accelerate investments in robotics and automation. In the medium term, gaps would close, but the transition would be costly. Training, time, and redesigning processes all take energy. In the long term, technology could cover productivity, but one major challenge remains: the decline of diverse perspectives. Creative teams thrive on a wide range of viewpoints, and removing half of humanity disrupts that balance. Smart policies on diversity and inclusion would have to compensate. Innovation has always been born from the clash of different perspectives. When half of humanity is suddenly missing, the risk of intellectual echo chambers increases. The solution? Broader networks, systematic inclusion of diverse voices, and human AI collaboration to discover ideas our minds alone wouldn't reach. In culture and art, genres and narratives would shift. Female heroes would become more common, and stories would take new shapes. But we must be careful not to fall into reverse stereotypes. Eliminating old should not create new ones. Here, we face a fundamental challenge: reproduction. In a world without men, the continuation of humanity would rely on technology. Artificial insemination, stored sperm banks, or advanced research like turning stem cells into gamete. These technologies are still experimental and come with risks and ethical dilemmas. Short-term birth rates would decline. Governments would push stronger support policies. Longer parental leave. Heavy investment in fertility research, and even the development of artificial wombs. Societies would have to decide how far they're willing to go. Global crime statistics show that a large proportion of violent crime is committed by men. So, some crime rates might drop. But security is not just about numbers. Military and police forces would have to reorganize quickly. In politics, representation would naturally shift toward women. Leadership styles could become more collaborative. But let's not forget, politics is not only about gender. Power and interests remain, and simply changing the gender of leaders doesn't erase those challenges. Everyday life would also be redefined. Single-parent households would become more common. Social and community support networks would grow stronger. Household labor would be redistributed. And patterns of consumption and entertainment would change. Many women would take on roles that were previously less accessible. Some skills would be filled through community training, everything from mechanics and repair work to crisis management. Society would become more self-sufficient and multi-skilled very quickly. If men had never existed, human history would have been completely different. Family structures, inheritance, laws, wars, technologies, and even art would have evolved along other paths. Would technology have developed more slowly, or maybe even faster in certain areas? There's no definitive answer. But one thing we do know, human diversity is the engine of adaptation. The broader the range of experiences and mindsets, the greater the chance of creative solutions. So, what's the biggest unexpected consequence? It might be the silence of certain conversations. When a group is gone, many questions simply stop being asked. Growth in science and society doesn't come from erasure, but from real dialogue and exchange. This thought experiment is a reminder that our strength lies in interdependence and being together. Now, it's your turn! If such a world began tomorrow, what would be your first 3 decisions to keep society running? Share them in the comments. If you found this video interesting, share it with someone who loves what-if scenarios. And don't forget to subscribe for the next episodes. What if humans became invisible? Or what if sleep was eliminated forever?